Okay, here we go. Man, okay, so it's that time of year. We have a lot of students getting ready to take standardized tests, and that means lots of stress, means lots of work, and a lot of questions. One of the common state assessments is to do a writing test. And so I want to talk a couple strategies, a couple ideas on how to do the writing portion of a state assessment. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to an example here. All right, so I'm a high school teacher in Arizona, and our state test is called AzMERIT. And this is the sample test that's posted onto the website for English 11, which is a grade that I teach. So what you'll see in this example here, on the left-hand side of the page, you've got some sort of reading materials. They give you a couple different sources. On the right-hand side, you see your writing prompt, and then a space to type in your answer and to submit it. Now, this particular test, which is the same company, AIR, that does Utah and maybe a couple other states, their assessments. But this is our 4th year of testing. But you're probably going to have something similar, whatever state you're in. So there's probably some sort of source material. You're going to be using some sort of prompt and then some space to type it in. And a lot of the functions here may look very familiar. You can go bold, italic, underline. You could do bullet points, things like that. The important thing is that you have a good process and a good strategy going into the test, that you know exactly what they're asking you to do, and you do that and not something else. So on this particular test, we have a spot up here for notes. So you click on notes. You can type in and brainstorm and do things like that. And of course, you can save it. This is super useful. Also, you can open up a dictionary, so you can search words as provided by Merriam-Webster, which is fantastic, and you switch between dictionary and thesaurus. Again, I imagine other states are similar as well. But regardless of whether you've got different options, different sources, different types of samples, what's really, really common across the board is you're going to get some sort of explanation, and then they're going to tell you what to do. So let's go through this example. All right, on a recent visit to a large city, you saw a friend use an application on his smartphone to summon a cab within minutes. Intrigued by such a new way of using taxis, you decide to write an editorial. So here it's telling you, what are you writing? You're writing an editorial. So you have to pay attention. If you don't know what an editorial is, you're going to be lost. For your school newspaper on the subject, write an argumentative article. Okay. So again, it's using another term. This editorial is going to be argumentative, meaning you're trying to be persuasive, in which you should support a claim about whether the operation of independent ride-sharing business constitutes fair or unfair competition. This is very complicated for the average student, I would assume. Use the information from the text in your essay. So you've got this source over here to help you out, and it tells you to use that information. Now it says here specifically, manage your time carefully so that you can read the passage, plan your response, write your response, revise and edit your response. Be sure to, and it tells you again, include a claim, address counterclaims, which are the opposite viewpoints from what you're trying to say. Use evidence from multiple sources, which are over here, and avoid overly relying on one source. So don't just focus on one, spread it out. Type in your response in the space provided below. So this is what I would encourage my students to do, and my students watching this, make sure you do this. Okay, so first thing you want to do is figure out exactly what you're supposed to do. So maybe you open up the notes and you're like, oh, so we're going to talk about ride sharing. What's that? I don't know. That's like Uber and Lyft and stuff like that. Do I even know what that is? I don't know what that is. I live in a small town or whatever, right? So you're brainstorming, you're coming up with ideas. You're like, well, you're talking about smartphones and apps, and I got to write an editorial. What's that? I don't know. It's got to be argumentative. I'm intentionally not being super perfect on this, whatever. English teacher, got to fix things. Okay, so you're argumentative and I have to use counterclaims and stuff like that. Okay, I'm brainstorming, getting some ideas. What do I have to do? Okay, what do I know? Well, I know maybe a little bit about Uber. I know it's in big cities. I know you can click a thing on your app and you're thinking through what you can do. What can I say about it? And obviously you should save and close, look at your source materials here, go through your different sources. It does specifically talk about Uber, and it uses real sources, which is nice. And then you go through and you take some notes as you read. Great. Now you've got some information. You got to figure out what points you're going to make. So here you probably want to start making an outline. What's an outline? An outline is where you take your ideas, you figure out which ones you're going to use, and you put them in an order that will help you do exactly what you're supposed to do, which is be sure to include a claim, address counterclaims, use evidence from multiple sources, avoid overly relying on one source, and talk about this, an argumentative article in which you support a claim about whether the operation of independent ride-sharing business constitutes fair or unfair competition. Now, that's going to be hard to do if you don't read your source material, and if you don't brainstorm, and you don't put your ideas in order. So, what do ideas look like? Well, you can write an outline like this: introduction, thesis, which is going to be your claim, right? Main points, counter claims. We're going to use a fancy word, rebuttal to the counterclaims, and then your conclusion, right? Okay, so if you want to be fancy, you can even bullet point it. Why? Because this test lets you. So I like to, I hit tab just then. Introduction, okay. Uber is a very blah yada yada popular app. Okay, my point is, let's make one up. Okay, let's don't say I think, I feel, I believe. Just state something as a fact instead of, saying like, well, I think this. No, don't think it, just say it. Just people know that there's more than one opinion. Otherwise it wouldn't be argumentative. Just say it. Don't say I think, I feel, I believe, unless you're an expert on Uber or something like that. Okay, so let's make up a claim on the spot. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of rephrase what's already there. Okay, so I make a point, and then I'll list a couple examples, because it promotes competition in the market. It uses modern technology and is convenient. No, maybe that's right. Okay, you probably know if I'm wrong or not. I don't know. And is convenient for users. Okay, so I came up with 3 examples. Then let's say that these are my main points. Okay. Now, you see how my thesis, my claim, turned into points that I'm going to make. So I'm going to talk about each of these, blah, yada, yada, and I'm going to use the sources over here to make these points, but I also have to respond to what other people say. So I'm going to clearly say what their claims are. If I don't accurately reflect what other people are saying, then I'm going to have a logical fallacy. I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to look like I'm trying to trick people, and none of that is good. It doesn't work. So you have to accurately state what other people have said, and then you simply respond down here. That's your rebuttal, is your response. And then down in conclusion, 2 things you're going to want to do. You're going to want to summarize your evidence, and you're going to want to restate your thesis. So what you've done is, you've introduced your topic, you've made a point, you've explained the point, you've responded to what other people, you've said what other people say, you've responded to it, and then you've reminded them of everything you just did. It's a very good structure for an argumentative essay. Now, you don't know what kind of essay you're going to get till you show up, so you kind of have to be prepared. But here's an example that State of Arizona is given to teachers and students within Arizona to do this sort of kind of paper for an essay. Now, let's say you're not taking a standardized test. You just have a really fast essay you have to write. This is still a really good structure. You want to make sure you understand what you're being asked to do, what your resources are, and then you do that. Now, the question is, will this do what I'm supposed to do? And that's what you have to stop and ask yourself. Okay, is this argumentative? Yes. Do I support a claim? Yes. Am I on topic? Yes. And am I using information yet? No, because I haven't read it, but I would before I go any further. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I hope this helps you to prepare for tests, or do well on tests or things in the future. And thanks for watching. If you have questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll be glad to answer them. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.